I'll get you unmuted for that. And I'm so excited. You know, we took a couple weeks off for Thanksgiving, and then last week we had our special guest, Bob Forrest. It was awesome. Bob was so great. It was so great hearing him share. I see all those nods, seeing him share his message. It was absolutely beautiful. And we've just gotten a lot of great feedback. So you all can look forward to a special guest once a month as we continue our In the Spotlight with Battlefield series. We've got Dave Smith from Refuge Recovery coming up in January. Stay tuned for that info. But we're working on some great guests coming up in the new year. But it was a great one to start out with Bob Forrest. And if any of you missed it or want to review it, it's on YouTube. So you can certainly watch it. You can share it with all your friends. And it was really, really great. But I'm excited to be back to a Normal Solution Group with Art in the seat tonight. But first, I think is Kyle's corny comedy corner ready for?
Let's give him a second.
Okay.
I think, yeah, we got to get him. He's in his trailer right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's in the green room.
Kids out to knock on the door.
Did he request green M&Ms?
Yeah, he doesn't like the green ones. He says makes us pick them out.
No.
Okay.
We have to pick the green ones out. He doesn't like the green ones.
I don't like any M&Ms.
So he's primping, but we will have a little moment with Kyle's
corny comedy corner.
I'm not primping. I'm right here.
Okay, no.
Okay. You know what we need? What we need is it's like a graphic designer out there. If there's anybody with special hidden talents out there that can, create something for us, it'd be really awesome to have like a slide with a little, like a music moment, like that introduces it. So if there's anybody out there that fits that, let me know. We'd love to do something like that.
Yeah. Kyle said he wants a cartoon slide of him
with a lot of teeth.
That has a lot of teeth.
Oh, okay.
No teeth.
Yes. All right.
All right. Okay. Are we ready to?
I feel like we need a better intro. You're right.
We do. We really do. You know how music. You know how you guys always describe is it Schitt's Creek?
Oh, Schitt's Creek. Yes.
Yeah. Kaylee has a great impression of that. She does it. Dun dun dun. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we need some kind of splash, a 10-second music vibe.
Yes.
And then I can put the cartoon on a screen with all those teeth or something. So if there's somebody out there that's really creative, help us out. And we're going to put these things out on the internet. It'd be great to do the 60-second or 2-minute deals and put them out there and get Kyle out there. But last week.
Let me introduce him tonight.
Yeah.
At 2 Years Clean, one of our premier managers here. Also, we get the pleasure of his comedy on a daily basis, but for you all, it's only tonight at Kyle's Corny Comedy Corner.
Dun, 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 dun.
Off your fingers.
Okay. So, being a manager here at the house, it has its pros and cons, and I got to hold these guys accountable, but they seem to think that all I ever do is tell them no. No.
Very good.
But we did take these guys out to the Olympic Game Farm this weekend. It was a lot of fun. Saw a lot of animals, elk. We saw buffalo. It made me think, what do you think, Angie, what do you think a buffalo says to his son when he goes off to college? Bye, son.
I didn't hear it. I missed it.
Oh my God.
Say it again, Kyle.
You're ruining it. No, okay. Okay, so what does a buffalo say to its son when he goes off to college? Bye, son. Because it's a bison. No, okay. So these guys are great. It's nice having recovering addicts in the house. Today, we decided to do a chore day. We had Kaylee polishing the tables, Casey polishing polishing the counters. Art polishing off the Oreos. But I mean, at least, he is working on this new weight training workout. It's called diddly squats.
Original word.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah, that's the last one, by the way.
So good. Everybody's clapping and everybody's laughing. I wish you could hear it. Oh, man.
Maybe we have to unmute everyone for Kyle's Corny Comedy Corner so we can hear the laughter.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, next week we're gonna keep getting better. Keep cranking them out, Kyle. It's great.
By the way, those were original jokes. He didn't look those up.
Yeah, I could tell. That's great. The Oreos. We could tell that was him for reals.
Yeah. If anybody's needing an employee, Kyle is now unemployed. So.
I need a boss who doesn't eat Oreos.
Oh
Kyle's
man.
looking for a job. That's just the gist of that. You know what I mean?
That's
I
awesome.
like people that work for me that don't talk while I eat my Oreos.
I talk after.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right. The only thing I didn't say before you start, Art, is to let people know that are new to Zoom, to make it easier to view just the speaker. If you choose the speaker view versus the gallery view, it will be helpful for you. So, all right. Go ahead, Art.
Let's see. It's been it's intense here. So it's a little different than it used to be, a little different than a week. This thing started out, truly started out to change for us. And for me in recovery, are we all right, Ange?
Yep.
For me in recovery, and for me, the shift really happened about three years into my recovery. And it was when I found Power Now, and I began to read Eckhart, and I began to listen to to read about his theory of what people needed not to suffer. And it was presence. And he said that a person would practice being now. And that was the beginning of this thing where I saw that all this suffering was outside of the current moment, and I would have to find this relief in the current moment. I'm doing some work with Dave Smith, who will be coming on in January, and we were talking yesterday, and he mentioned that relief is always just right here, like a breath away. And that's how he said it, because I was talking to him about maybe sometimes relief's not possible. And he said, no, it's always possible. It's always a breath away. And, but eventually what it turned into was there was this other thing that got added. And then we started reading Michael Singer's book, Untethered Soul. And in Michael Singer's book, he said that there is that thing that he talked about, mindfulness. And he said that presence was the same thing as Eckhart did. But what he said about it was there's two ways to be more present. And he said the first way to be present is to be present and really practice that. And the second way to be present is to figure out what's making you not present. And as we moved on further, what we began to see was that there was this other thing that kept kind of gnawing at me, or gnawing at what was going on. And we even had it as a slogan in the solution group. It was our first slogan. And our first slogan was, what was required to come in this room was two things. It was truth and presence. And we said, if you come here, just please be present. And then secondly, be truthful. And that was the requirement in the room. Well, I didn't generally understand the depth of that statement back when we even said it. For me at that time, there was a thin layer of just I can just be present and I can tell the truth. And what I've come to realize is this is truth and presence is this double-handed work, and actually being present is double-handed work. And so what I mean by that is that with this hand, I practice what Michael Singer said. And I said, I'm going to be more present. I'm just going to practice with this hand. And then I take the second hand and I try to figure out what's making me not present. But actually, if you look at it, what guides this hand has to be what the hand is the hand of truth. And so you have this hand of truth. Well, what I can tell you is when I was getting high and when I was coming into early recovery, I didn't have either of these things. I didn't have truth and I didn't have presence. And what I mean by that is, one, I could never be where I was at. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't be where I was at. Is it okay if we could get this cat, see what the cat's doing and get it?
Eating.
Okay. All right. So the first thing, it was this coangled thing where I was like this. It was tangled. I mean, and it was like I didn't have either. I was just this thing without truth and this thing without presence. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't be still. I couldn't be present to the current moment. I was always thinking about the past. I was always thinking about the future, and I wasn't truthful. Now, as it started happening, the first thing that happened was I saw Eckhart and he said, be present. So I took this hand and I said, okay, I just want to be present with this thing. I'll put this forward and I'll practice being present. And that took a monumental step because I had to breathe. I had to use my senses. I had to actually practice that. And with that hand, I did that, but I didn't know what was always the cause of why I couldn't do that. So what was going on when I couldn't be present? And then what I found was, after reading Untethered Soul and listening to Michael Singer, was that there was this other hand, this hand of truth, that what I was going to have to do with is I was going to have to figure it out. What was causing this lack of presence? How come I can't be where I'm at? How come I'm obsessing about the past or worrying about the future? What's going on with that? And so you take this hand and then you say, well, really figuring out what it takes to figure out why I can't be present really starts with truth. And, you know, I never understood for a long time. I didn't understand the phrase lie to yourself. And I just, because I didn't know what that meant. I didn't lie to myself. I don't lie to myself. How would one go about the business of lying to themselves? And I don't think so underneath this thing of why we're not present, it starts with, and why we're not truthful, it starts with this thing. And there's a lot of work to it. The lying to yourself is one of the things, yes. But when I say lie to yourself, what I mean about lying about my motivation. What is my motivation? What is the reason I'm saying what I'm saying? What is the reason I'm doing what I'm doing? And this was like latter stages. The other part of this work of being truthful comes with like truthful conversations. How can I be truthful with people, and how can I go back and clear up conversations? So the work of this starts with, but really what it starts with is this not lying to yourself that you are present. You know, so it's both. It's like, okay, I'm going to try to be present, but with this hand, I'm going to be truthful. And I'm going to say, right now I'm not, and I can't be. And then I got to take that upon this hand to do the work. I have to go back here and I have to talk to somebody. I have to apologize to somebody. I have to text somebody. I have to clear something up. I have to be truthful. I have to do something here to make the presence increase. So then what happened was I started doing this work to be more present. So you take care of things with this hand. You take care of conversations. You take care of you look at your fears, you look at everything that you have to look at here and be very truthful with it. And I didn't, for a long time, I never really grasped the idea of being truthful with yourself. But what it really means is just simply saying I'm not present, saying I can't be right now. And latter, as it moved on, more so, there was something else that started showing up. When I got really truthful, see, what the reality is this is a lifetime exploration. So I'm not just going to get to a point where I'm truth and presence. It just doesn't happen. What happens is the depth of your truthfulness increases and the depth of your presence increases. And so this is actually the ratio or the formula for a different experience as a human and a different quality of life. So as I increase the depth of my truthfulness, and that means a lot. And from what I can gather, I'm not even close yet, and I'm still working on it. And what that means is there's so many times I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing or why I'm saying what I'm saying. And I don't know that I'm lying to myself in those cases. And I have to watch this thing and make sure that I'm truthful with my motivation. And then as I'm more truthful, the presence increases. As the presence increases, the watching of the lack of truthfulness increases. So these hands then begin to work together. So it started out like this. It separated. This hand started doing all the work of trying to be present, but then noticed that this hand was getting heavy and was weighing and I couldn't be present. And then all of a sudden, this hand had to become the truth. It had to become the truth with people. It has to become the truth with myself. It has to do the work of suggesting that I'm not present. And all of a sudden, as this hand becomes more truthful, this hand becomes more present. And then as this hand becomes more present, this hand watches the lies. And so it's this two-handed work of presence. And as it's not just be present. It's not possible. Look closer. It's not just be now. It's not. It's working towards this depth of the quality of experience of a human being. How do I work towards it? With truth and presence, with the increase of both, and one increases the other, and the other increases the other. And it goes like that. And so finally, as it went on, there was something else that showed up, and this is just currently where I'm at. What else that showed up was after you do what this hand does truly is it sets the mood. And if you look right here, with this hand I'm present, with this hand there's a mood. There's something there's a current thing that's being dealt with. I was with this weekend, somebody was with me and they said, your mood is somber. And then but that's the truthfulness, to be able to then get to a point where you can say what the mood is. So presence has a mood. I never knew that. I just thought presence was presence, but the reality is presence always has a mood. And that mood that the presence has is determined by what's currently going on. It just sets the mood. So you can be present, but this is still there. And it sets the mood. So the mood gets cleared up by the work. So how do I affect the mood? Well, the mood changes by my truthfulness. The mood changes by my conversations with people. The mood changes by doing the work and being honest with myself. So this hand is the hand of truth. This is the hand of presence, and they work together, and one sets the other and the other sets the other one. And what you do with this one eventually is it'll just be the mood. I don't know if it goes further at this point. What I see is that this hand just sets the mood. So I do the work of lighting. It's almost like a dial. And so I'm setting the mood with this hand. And then if it's the most truthful hand, and if it's doing the most work, the presence is great. And then if it's not, and the presence looks at it and says, hey, wait. You got to be truthful here to get back to presence. And that's what it all takes. It's like so beautiful, because it started out for me that it was entangled and that I had neither. And then I started working on one. And when I worked on one, it shined a light on there was no truth. And it shined a light that I couldn't stay present, not because I couldn't stay present, because there were so many lies. There were so many lies about what motivated me. There was a lack of admitting that my life was about looking good. I didn't ever admit that before. So I was living this lie every day. And I see kids that come to me, this thing starts out, I don't see anyone that comes here truthful and present. And that's what we're working on. We're working on so that people can be, and when I say truthful, it's not just lying to yourself. It's actually, how do I not lie to myself first? How do I say the proper motivation? How do I find my proper motivation before I speak? And then when I speak, it ain't lying like I didn't break the lamp. It ain't lying like I didn't get high when I got high. It ain't lying like I didn't steal the money. That's not it. It's deeper. It's lying like I'm going to say this when I really mean that. I'm going to be saying that it's about this when it's really about that. And so what we're doing here in this room on a daily basis is these kids are allowing for me to call them on their improper motivation and their lies. And it's not about lying about what they've done in their life or about covering it up. It's about lying about simple things like why I said what I said, why we're talking how we're talking. And so the first thing I ask them to do when they come here is to be present. And then I ask the presence to go ahead and take a look at the other hand and see if there's any truth there. And this presence increases the truth, and the truth increases the presence, and it just keeps working until the quality of our life gets to the point where it's livable. And as it gets livable, it can then improve a little more and a little more and a little more, but that's the work. So today, if you haven't took this hand today and actually forced it to presence, if you haven't actually went, I need to take a breath here and I need to be present in the moment that I'm in, and done that work. And if you haven't then looked at your motivation today, and I will argue that any human being on here, if you've never really done a recovery program, whether you're an addict or not, or any type of program that looks at your truthfulness and your motivation and finds it to be false, because it is, and you find your motivation to be false, that's the start of it. When you figure out most of your motivation is false, and most of your motivation has been about you, the way you look, your reputation, your money, your stuff, and then it's about the accumulation of you looking good, when you get there, that presence can come out and shine a light on what your motivation is. And if you haven't done this process, I would argue that you're probably still maybe here, struggling with truth and presence and not having either. And so this program I'm asking these guys to work is brutal, because it's profound when you find out that you're really up to things that you didn't know you were up to. It's profound when you find out that your motivation has been one thing when you say it's another. And it really brings you to your knees. And what it makes for, though, is this human being that has humility. And I ain't going to lie to these kids and say that they get here likable, because they don't. They come here unlikable because of that reason, and that reason is that they are tangled in a lack of truth and a lack of presence. And when we ask them to take this hand out and just be present with it, and then to take this hand out and find the hand of truth and really look at yourself, it makes for this beautiful truth and present human being that we can see has this quality of humility that's able to be called out. Not run, not leave, not kick and scream, but actually be called out on the worst thing a human can be called out on. And that's this fraudulent way that we're up to things. And that we use, who's that, guys? Is that me, or? We use this falsely motivated really way of, and what I mean by that, if you don't understand your motivations are false, well, there's a lot of examples that we can get into, but for the most part, what you're doing is probably one of the biggest ways this goes down is the way we point out other people's bad behavior to make ourselves look good. And that's generally, one of the biggest ways that we're a fraud, that we spend our time actually acting like we care about another human being when we're pointing out their bad behavior. And that's what these guys are learning. And so the start of this untangled hands, and I never knew it would go this deep, and I don't know how deep it goes. I don't even know if I'm the truth right now. I don't even know if I'm close. I know I'm on an exploration with this hand of being as truthful as I can be, because that's the quality of life I want to live. And I know I'm exploring this hand with meditation and breathing and practice and being more present and actually using the muscle of presence and strengthening that muscle. So with this hand, I strengthen the muscle and I take a look. And with this hand, I clear out garbage. I just clear garbage with it. I clear the garbage of the past. I clear worry. I clear things that are going on. And this current time in my life for 4 months is taking both hands. And with both hands, I'm still not capable. With both hands, I'm still lost in my thoughts. I'm still obsessing. And with both hands now, I have to still practice again. And I still have to figure out a way to acknowledge, one, I don't know. I don't know if I'm being true. I don't know. And please, when I'm saying truthful, I'm not talking to you all about, I lied about this or I lied about this. I'm not talking about those type of lies. I think we're far past that. I'm talking about my motivation. I'm talking about what I'm up to. I'm talking about why I would tell you a story about somebody else. I'm talking about things like that. So, and whether I'm humble enough to use this hand to be that truthful, I don't know. And this experience as a human being seems to me to be based on these two hands. It seems to be what's the depth of your truthfulness? What do people know about you that you haven't told someone? What are you hiding? If you're hiding something, the presence is not going to be there. And the presence needs to shine a light on what you're hiding. And that if there's secrets, if there's stuff in the closet, I've had the luxury of having my closet emptied. And I thank God for that. I didn't have much in there to begin with, but whatever was there got thrown out to the public. So I'm absolutely grateful for that. And so now I sit here in front of you at this point, feeling empty, feeling in a good way, feeling that this hand has very little. But then there's a lot of other work, because even when I get to the point where I feel like this is where I'm being truthful with myself, there's still the work of resentment. There's still the work of fear. There's still the work of anger. There's still the work of worry. And it's still stuff that I have to clear out. So this hand never stops working. And then I can lie to myself and say I'm present when I'm not. But this hand won't let me. It says, no, you're not. You got to deal with something. And so, that was the main thing that I lived a life of 37 years as an addict. And there was two qualities that I didn't have. Not 37 years. It was probably 27 years as an addict. But I didn't have the quality of truthfulness, and I didn't have the quality of presence. I lacked both. I was a robot. I was just this robot that sought out drugs. And there was none of it there. And then it was beautiful when I just found out that relief is just a breath away, that I can just breathe and I can get to this hand. See, if I can just get to this hand and I can touch the current moment with it and I can just be present, that can give me enough space to look at what's making me not present. If I can just get there. So I just get to this hand, I take a breath and I look at it. And then this hand comes up with some honesty and says, here's why. Let's look at it. What can we do? And then they really had it nailed with that serenity prayer. They just had it a beautiful, but it's tricky. That serenity prayer is so tricky because they got it nailed and they say, the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. But I don't think we ever get to that wisdom. Do we ever figure out what we can change and what we can't? Or do we just say we can't so we get off the hook? So I found that to be a little tricky because I don't know what I can change and what I can't. I got to look into it deeply to figure it out. And if I just say I can't change it, I'm kind of giving up sometimes. So that was tricky. And that, the courage to change the things I can. Well, that's pretty easy because for me, it was easy to do that because I just smashed my head into everything. But sometimes I didn't have the wisdom to know the difference. So I smashed my head into everything and beat it up. But for me, I'd rather smash my head at everything than just let myself off the hook. So that's why it's tricky, but it's beautiful. So that's the serenity prayer. Boom. Well, look into it. You're worrying. Well, say that. Can you change it? No, yes. Okay, do something with this hand. Be truthful that you can't be present until it's done. Then if you get to the point where you figure out you can't change it, well, then you're just back over here to presence because there's nothing left to do over here. So it's this beautiful formula that increases the quality of your experience. And I say that these two qualities will do it while nothing else will. That without them, anything else you do will do nothing. It'll just lead to a more mixed up human, a more identified character that spends more time talking about their story and the past and the future and debating about what got them to where and who's to blame. But when you start unraveling this thing and you take a moment and you go, well, tomorrow I'm going to be present. And the way I'm going to do that is, one, I'm just going to be more present. And two, I'm going to be honest when I'm not. And I'm going to figure out why I'm not. Well, there's some kind of pathway there. So, but it's really deep to watch these. It's the hardest thing. I think the hardest thing I've never seen anything harder for a human being to be told that their motivation's false. I don't see many people going through more distress than the pressure you can put on a human being when you're telling them that they're falsely motivated. The anger that can arise. Not me. I'm not falsely motivated. I'm pure. And then they see it. And then there's a break. And when they see it, it breaks open. And the possibility for you just expands. And so that's what happens here. And that when they really, really can then point out with each other that, hey, take a look. But we don't let people. Very rare, like I said in the beginning of this thing, I said sometimes they allow me to question their motivation. And that allowance is the biggest form of humility that a human being can let somebody in and do something with. So truly, if you're working a recovery program, but you're not really looking into your false motivation, then I would say that you're not doing it. And that it's the depths of it is endless and it never stops. It's like looking for a burglar your entire life and then you figure out you're the burglar. And that's what this is about. you look for the burglar, but he just keeps going to the next floor. And then so you go to the next floor and there's no burglar there. You think he went on the roof. So you go to the roof and there's no burglar. And then so you think he went to the basement. So he goes to the basement and there's no burglar. And then but you keep hearing noises. You keep thinking getting stuff stolen. You look throughout the house for your entire life, never find the burglar until you figure out it's you. And that's what this is. You're the burglar, the false motivation that's causing your life to show up in a way that you don't want it to. The endless story of why it didn't work out. Yeah, it didn't work out because you weren't truthful. You didn't say what you wanted. You told your boss that you wanted your coworkers to have a clean desk, but you didn't help them. You just pointed out that the desk is bad. Now, what were you doing there? You were just trying to be better than your coworker. But you weren't able to be called on that. You never had the humility as a human being to be called out. It's a beautiful experience when drug addiction gives you the humility to be called out. And that's what's happening. Anyways, I rambled enough. We can open it up for questions.
No, that was good. That was really good, Art. Where's the burglar?
I will say that from this first time in my life, I was really practicing a presence practice for the past 5 years, but I never really had the presence to state the mood. And almost every minute of every day right now, my mind states the mood. It's odd, somber, sad, excited, wanting, energy, calm, upbeat, happy. So I have presence with a mood, and I use them both. Okay, there's presence, and then there's the mood of the presence. I'm present to the mood. And this is the first time that I've really had that show up. So it's gotten a little deeper. Like, oh, wow, there's a mood to it. I never really noticed. I just thought there was just shit going on. But I didn't notice that stuff going on was causing this mood. And now I kind of like the mood, no matter what the mood is. It's just the mood. So you just look and you go, the mood, there it is. So you'll have that distinction now to go forward and just kind of see it. There's presence and there's presence with the mood. And you are just always present to the mood, whatever that mood is. And you can be okay with it. Tired, awake, angry, presence with a mood. Anyways, questions?
Yeah, so, okay, guys, this is where we open it up. And if there's any questions, thoughts, shares, this is your time. And the way you can do it is you can just raise your hand. There's a raise your hand feature on the screen, and you can raise your hand and I'll see it and it'll put you in line. If you can't figure that out, no problem. You can just literally wave your hands or unmute yourself, get my attention. There's a few screens that I need to scroll through, so it might take me a minute so the KO Maddoxes are raised their hand, they'll be first. So there's a few screens for you to make it through, but just be patient and please don't give up. We want to hear from you. If there's any first timers, we want to hear from you. If you have any, questions about what you're going through right now too, that's welcome. Kathy Hewlett, if you'd like to ask your questions tonight, you certainly can. Feel free to do that. Let me know that you'd like to do that. Totally fine. And we welcome that. So Steve and Birdie, let's get you unmuted. Hey guys.
Great. Hi. Hey, it's good to have Art back in the chair.
Yes.
I'm loving it.
Yes.
Art. Art. So, presence and a mood. That's very intriguing to me. I'd like to be clearer on that. Does that mood come from the environment, or is it like when I listen to music will take me places? Is that the mood? I'm still not quite sure about that. Could you expand on that a little, please?
I really got into this because of COVID. What I saw was, you want to get out of the house. So you get out of the house. And COVID has a mood. This whole COVID experience has a mood to it. It's kind of if we kind of take it apart a little bit, there's a mood of like, there's some disarray. There's some sides to it. There's like, maskers, no maskers. You know, there's like conspiracy theories and people that don't have them. And then you go out and there's no more smiles. You go to the casino, go to the restaurant, and the mood is kind of always deadened because of these masks.
Yeah.
So these masks, they really deaden the presence of the current moment. The lack of smiles, the lack of the energy. And so I found out that for me, it was like, well, COVID has a mood and we're living the COVID mood.
Yeah.
It's like, and so it's the aggregate. It's all of it, you know, and then I saw this guy, we were at a restaurant and COVID had this mood and my mood was kind of somber and a little sad, but I was present to it. And I wasn't lost in the future or the past. I was just kind of like, wow, this is somber. And it's like COVID. It's like, when is this going to go away? And then this guy came in drunk. And I saw, wow. And he was like, he wasn't a drunk. He wasn't an alcoholic. He was just a guy drinking in the bar. And he came to eat a steak. And his mood was unaffected by COVID. He found a power greater than COVID, booze, you know? So it was like, he found a way to get rid of the COVID mood with booze.
Yeah.
But if you're sober to it and you're just present to it, it is just the aggregate of all of it. COVID has a mood. Turn on the football game. The football game even has a mood. Nobody in the stands, nobody cheering. We see it, you know. And then I went, geez, there's always a mood.
Yeah.
It just always is. And then I just date it, whatever it is. I don't work on changing it yet. I don't try to say it's bad. Just, that's the mood right now. And it's okay. And I'm present to it. You know, and then maybe you do turn on some music and it gets better. Right? You know, it gets, you know, and you can do whatever you want with it. I'm just saying it's there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Hey,
Kyle.
Hey, Steve, can I
Hello.
just
Yeah.
share? Can I just share how wonderful you look in that Battlefield hoodie?
Yeah. That's sweet.
Yes, the camo one looks so sharp on you.
Thank you. Thank you. Working on
Looking
it.
good. Looking good.
Thank you, guys.
I want to say something real quick, Angie.
Yep.
So just to go off what Art was saying, there's just something I just wanted to point out. And I think the analogy of Art, you know, when he came his hands like this with the mood and the presence together is perfect, because what you find is that presence, the moment, that is already there and always will be already there. It's not like when the mood is gone, all of a sudden you found something that's not there. It's been there the whole time. The issue is that we have this other side, which is the unobserved mind. It's the part of the mind that is not aware that there is a presence, and it's not aware that there is a mood. It just puts it all together as one, and we live life. I mean, to the best of our abilities, without being aware that there is two of them. Now, I just wanted to point out that that's why we get high. That's why I got high. So I'm going through life. I got my mood. I got the presence. I got it together. And I'm not liking the mood. I'm not liking the way my mind thinks. I'm not liking the way I live my life. So I get high. And when I do, for that brief moment, however long it may be, all of a sudden that mood is gone and I have that presence. That's why we get high. And then all of a sudden we're not high and it comes rushing right back. But I just think it's you know, like, it's good news to hear the fact that presence is already there, that the moment is already there. All you have to do is take the first step and just become aware of it. You just got to become aware that there's presence and become aware that there's a mood. Because once you do, you step back, and from there you can change it. From there you can separate the two and just become presence in the moment.
Beautiful.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Beautiful, Kyle.
Yeah, he's the thing about Kyle and the thing about what's going on with him is and like I always say, I watch Kyle and it is a lot like, you know, he's experiencing a movie that I saw once and I love that movie, and so he reminds me of how good the movie was, and I love hearing him talk for that purpose, because he takes me back to a place where I was, and it's bare bones, you know, connecting with this moment and accepting it, and he's working it to the best of his ability. So that's why he can articulate it so well, because it's the truth. Who's
It is really fun hearing him articulate in his words. Yeah. And you can really tell genuinely that it's his words. He's not
Yeah.
repeating. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I can't give him a script. I tried. He went off script with that goddamn Oreo comment, you know.
I love it. I love it. It's
What
beautiful.
was it? I do diddly squats.
Yeah.
That's goddamn right. I just had to put a pillow underneath. I've sat in this chair. I've been here for 3 months. I've sat in this chair so many hours that the thing is sagging. And I just had to put 2 pillows underneath the cushion so that I could sit like I sat last week. My fat ass is caving in this chair. And I'm the only one that sits in it. I was trying to blame somebody, but it's only me. There's nobody else that sits in this chair. I was like, who's been sitting in my chair? It's me.
We could bring back Art's health update moment. People would love that.
Oh, no.
Don't do that.
No.
Hey, I'm down. Good news. Down 9 pounds.
I thought it was 10.
10
But
pounds.
well, the better
Yeah.
news is the body fat went down and muscle mass went up even more than just the 9 or 10 pounds.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Yeah.
So Oreos.
Where's that Rocky music? She said my iron is way low too. I've been working on that.
Yeah, because it was
You know what I
too
do? I
hot.
sit in this chair and I just think about my iron going down, and it does. That's how good I got it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't
2020
surprised when she told me my iron levels were down around normal now, because I used to have an excess. I wasn't surprised. I knew I'd been working on it. You know.
And your magnesium.
Oh, my man, I've been killing
You've
it with
been
the
working on
magnesium.
that.
Yeah. If you're interested in how to lower your magnesium and iron while sitting in a chair, give me a call. Angie will quote you the price on how
No, 2021 is going to be a fresh new year.
Yeah.
In the health department, we'll get some updates.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Who has a question, thoughts, experience, anything, guys?
Or you can talk about Bob too. You want to talk about Bob?
Oh man, yeah. If you want to share what your thoughts are about Bob, please do. I loved it. I was smiling so much that my cheeks literally really hurt at the end. They were just sore at the end. I was just smiling so big, just his candidness. And he just doesn't sugarcoat anything. It reminds me of how I felt when I first met Art. I mean, I just remember that experience of like meeting somebody that actually was an addict and just talks about it as it was, not textbook trying to make it look good or politically correct. And I really dig that, you know? All right, come on, guys. Who's first? Kim Zello, hey, from Alaska, you got something?
I do. Yes, thank you. Art, you mentioned some books in the beginning. What are some of these books that we could maybe read up on some of this?
Yeah, we have a suggested reading, but you know, the Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and that was a life-changing epiphany book for me, and a lot of what we do stems from that. Power Now by Eckhart, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I would say those 3 books were the most fundamental, important books to my recovery and what I use to practice. So
Our list for you guys to find, if you are on Facebook, you'll want, if you haven't already joined the private group called The Family's Battle, you can just search The Family's Battle and join, and I'll accept you. And all you do is click on files on that group. And if you click on files, you're going to scroll down and you're going to find the recommended reading list. And it's going to include those books that Art just named. And then there's some others as well. It's not even all of them that we ever refer to, but the top ones or the basic ones, you can find them there. There's also a link on that recommended book list that is also a YouTube video suggested watch list as well, with some videos from like Michael Singer, Mindfulness is the Way on YouTube. It's about an hour and 20 minutes, and it's a really great watch. He's real quirky and he's real fun. I think he's very entertaining to listen to. And he's an older guy, kind of quirky, and it's really fun to listen to. The first hour he speaks and then he does questions. That's a really good one. And then it will inspire you to actually read his book, Untethered Soul, after you watch it. But there's some other ones on there that are really good. Hal Elrod, Can't Change It, from Miracle Morning. Yeah. So you can find that list on the Family's Battle. Thank you, Kim. Thanks for that question. Always appreciate those kinds of basic questions. It's just a reminder to let everybody know that these resources are available to them. I often
Thank
forget,
you.
so I appreciate it. So no question is too crazy, guys, because those kinds of questions are actually important, those basic things. If you have something on your mind, please share it for these new folks, because we kind of take for granted. These new folks, there's a lot. Sherry Pennington and then Angela Badalucco. Go ahead. Hi, Sherry.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Bob was amazing. We watched Bob and the Monster beforehand, and it is amazing the stuff he's been through. He's just, it's fascinating. I just died when he was talking about, he's letting his kid jump off the roof and trying to, logic with a child about the jumping off the roof thing. And I was just like, oh my God, I could not imagine being the mom watching that go down. That just wouldn't work for me. So, I was reading recently, and it came up with like that question that you kind of like stop yourself when you need to figure out what your motivation is. That in the book I was reading, it was saying free from what? What are you free? It was talking about freedom from, free from what? So if you're trying to get to your motivation, right? If you're trying to kind of like stop for a second, pause, go, okay, wait, what's my motivation here? Is there like that key question that you kind of go, or do you just stop and say, what the hell's my motivation, right? Is there a trigger there?
Phenomenal question. And the question actually indicates that, hold on. The question is an indicator of a human being that's starting. So the first thing that has to happen to initiate this whole process is you have to actually put this hand out and try to be present. Okay. That being said, once that initiates, then I would say the number one thing to look for is the complaint. The number one area that you'll find the false motivation is in the complaint. And if you stop it right there and you kind of take a look at what's going on, there's a complaint that shows up about another human being or about a situation or about a family member or about a job, and that complaint shows up. And right there, I will say all human beings become falsely motivated. And the complaint, what Warner says is we're inviting you to take a look at your complaints like a racket. So what he's saying is right there, look. And what you're really motivated to do right there is to let yourself off the hook. What your motivation, so I always say, as soon as a complaint shows up, stop and say, what do I want? And can I get down to the bone of truth with this hand and really say what I want? Can I really say it? For a long time, I had a long-standing complaint against my brother-in-law. And I just complained about everything that he did at every family function, and the way he operated as a father, and the way he operated as a husband to my sister, and the way he didn't want to fix my car when I wanted it fixed, even though he was a mechanic. And I just continued to have that complaint against him. Now, if you would have asked young Art, what do you want? I would have told you with no humility that I wanted a better brother-in-law, that I wanted a better relationship with my brother-in-law. I would have lied to myself. But what I wanted was validation that I was a better human being than my brother-in-law. I wanted my mom to look at me. I wanted everyone in the family to think I was cooler than him. And I wanted to use him and everything he did wrong to make myself look better. And so I spent constant time pointing out his deficits so that I could alleviate myself for my behavior, whatever I was trying to do. And those kind of things are going on in our life all the time. And so I would say the complaint is the indicator that once you find yourself in complaint mode or judgment mode and you find it there, then ask, what do you want? You want to make a difference? Do you want to improve the situation? Or are you just letting yourself off the hook and letting the situation or the person be not your fault? So what do I want is the biggest question that I tell people to ask. What do I want right now? And a lot of times you might just get to the point where I just want to puke up a bunch of bad energy and talk about my friend. And then I'll be done. But yeah, I would say what I want. What do you want?
Is that the moment that you kind of check your superiority of the two? I think that's something we talked about when we met. There was a little bit of the, am I trying to be superior over this person and show that they're not as good?
That's right. That's right. That's the payoff. We get to be right. We get to be superior. That's the payoff. There's always a payoff for our complaints. The juice. Yeah, that's it. There's juice in that. And so, we end up with our complaints blocking us from love and not knowing it. And that's the tragedy in it, that our complaints are actually making us not responsible for the relationship, which ends up really making us not responsible for the connection. What ends up with, we're not responsible for loving the other human being. What our complaints say is, I will love them when they change. When they change, I will love them. But wait, they gotta now hand out the list. Most husband and wives, that's what they're just saying all day, every day. There's about 10 improvements you need to make. And when you get done with those 10, I'm going to love you.
Or there's really going to be more.
Yeah, but then they do those. If they did those 10 things, tell me you wouldn't have a new 10. The endless improvements. Then I'll love you when you make those. So our complaints are actually blocking us from love. Love blocked by righteousness.
Thank you, Sherry. It's really awesome to have your participation each week. It's really, it's helpful for us observing it and watching her learning. And we learn so much through your questions there. Thank you. So there's 2 more in line. So we got Angela Badalucco, and then we'll do Tracy Stanton. So Angela, can we get you unmuted?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Awesome. Hi, Angela. Angela from West Virginia.
How are you?
All the way from the East Coast. It's late there.
Yeah, it is. Part of my question was answered from just what the last lady asked. The second part of that is, I admit that my fears get in the way of my judgment of my son. It's learning how to, I guess, learning how to deal with that. And these books that you talk about that helped you to try to obtain sobriety, do they help parents to maybe ease up on our worrying?
Yeah. Well, first of all, the books didn't help me obtain sobriety. What helped me stay sober was not using drugs. That really helped. And not drinking alcohol helped a lot in sobriety, and my commitment to not use those things. That's what keeps me sober.
Not wanting to get high.
What the books do is that they're about not suffering. And these books help me suffer less. And so, yes, they will help you suffer less. And it isn't that your judgment, that your fears get in the way of your judgment. It's that you're so fearful that you're always in judgment. You see, you're living in such fear that you're constantly weighing and analyzing and judging the situation and his behavior because you're scared. And that's not a bad thing. That's just truthful. It's okay. It is okay. So, but take this hand, Angela, and be present with it and really practice and cut a carrot, wash your hands and be present and get a break from, if it's a second, if it's 30 seconds, take it. And then with this hand, it's okay. Just be truthful. Be truthful. Just say, I'm scared. Just say, but don't tell me that you're disappointed or that you're frustrated or that, whatever. Like when you're angry, you're not angry. You're not so angry. That's not it. You're righteous. You're relieving your pain. You're, being superior. That's more truthful. But the idea that you're just scared, how can that not be the truth? And now what are you scared about? Now let's look. Let's even go more truthful into what scares you. And see, this is nasty because this is where you get really, you want a quality experience, are willing to admit that a lot of what scares you is like how you look as a mom in the aggregate, and where you failed as a mother, and if you did fail, and all that stuff is what really concerns us.
Yeah.
And if you knew emphatically that as a mother you were perfect, would that take a lot of the fear away already? You know, I would say yes. So this is your recovery, the truthfulness of this hand. And you have to look and be honest with it and say, I'm trying to be present, Art, but I can't, and here's why. And then it's like, let's start really getting real here into why. And this no presence and no truth, that's suffering. Because at this level, with no presence and no truth, you live completely in the story of you, completely wrapped up in the character called Angela and who she is and what it means about her that her son's an addict, and you're wrapped up. So just take this hand and take a break from that. And then take this hand and put it over here and take this and look at it and be truthful. Breathe, take a look at your whole experience you're having, sit with it and go, okay, what am I really scared about? Am I scared what my mother thinks of how I am as a mother? Am I scared about Aunt Linda and what she says about how I act with my son? Am I scared about what the neighbors think? Am I scared about what my coworkers think? What am I really scared of? You know, am I scared to be without my son and have him go away and say, you know, and I didn't get to, he doesn't think I love him. Whatever it is, you have to do that. Yeah. But yeah, what keeps people sober is a commitment to sobriety. The books that I recommend have nothing to do with addiction and sobriety. The books that I recommend, I don't think I've ever read a book on addiction. Well, I've read some CBT stuff, some enabling stuff, some Codependent No More. I've read that, but I haven't really read anything on addiction because Gabor Mate, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, I read that. But for the main part, it's about suffering and how to not suffer. And isn't that what you need?
Yeah. I did read Codependent No More, and I still can't quit being codependent. But
look at, here's what I want you to do with that book. Grab it, throw it out that window behind you, and then get Eckhart's book.
Okay.
Chris, were you trying to jump in here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, let me unmute. Where am I?
I got you.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Angela, I'd highly recommend Untethered Soul. You know, that really helped my wife and I when our son was going through addiction, and it didn't help him. It helped us. And there's just some really there's just some chapters in that book that after we read them, we went, oh wow, that was just really insightful and very helpful. So that'd be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
That one in the 2 Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A New Earth and Power of Now. Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can find it on Amazon.
Yeah, I have them saved. I just was double checking. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And then Michael Singer. Oh, look, Sherry, here, keep that up, Sherry Pennington. I put you on Spotlight. That's The Power of Now. I personally would recommend The Power of Now before A New Earth. Me personally, I was able to comprehend easier on The Power of Now. Yeah, so it's a goodie.
And that Michael Singer is the Untethered Soul.
Untethered Soul. And I started with Untethered Soul. That was my first one. Okay. You can also get them on Audible as well. So, and listen.
Okay.
I like having a paper copy and Audible both, you know?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Thanks for always having great questions. Okay, Tracy Stanton, or is this Cindy? Is this sister?
Is it Cindy?
I thought so. Hi, Cindy.
We look a lot alike, right?
It's nice to meet you and have a face to your voice. Hi there.
Nice to meet you too.
Welcome to your first solution group.
Thank you. It's kind of like a little nervous. Like Tracy says, well, just ask the question. I said, no. She just asked. So I kind of have a question, like as the overall, what you're saying about, you know, you have the complaint and then, you know, what can I do to change it? You know, my complaint is this big, huge, fat thing called addiction. That's an awful big complaint. And then what I want to change, or what if what I want isn't obtainable? What if I'm the one who cannot change it? I can't get him to stop using. I can't get him to stop robbing my sister's bank account or breaking into her house or abusing her. You know, I mean, is that just a big fat cop out, or can we break this down into some kind of smaller obtainable wants? You know, where can I stand in this? Because I've kind of been like on the outskirts. This has never been up front and center in my life. And then the last 4 months is like, boom, you're looking us straight in the eye, watching every move your family makes now because of living situations. And, you know, my sister's house burned down and she's been living with me. And so here comes my sister, and guess what came with her? Bam, addiction.
Okay. Let's start back at something. Let's say that did you say something about you don't want this person to rob your sister's bank account?
Correct.
Okay.
How can I stop him from doing that? You know, my want to me is
my wallet
yeah.
out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, are you telling me that's too difficult? Are you telling me that's too difficult of a task?
No. What I'm. How do I say this? I guess what I'm saying is that, like I said, my want is a big, huge overall want. I want this to end. But how can we break that down into smaller, achievable goals or components to because now I am a active part of this, and so I want to be present in the recovery. So how can I make some of those help her make some of those obtainable?
Okay, so let's start here.
Okay.
Why do we take other people's pain away?
Why do we take it away?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to see them hurt.
Yeah, well, it's more deeper than that. And if you get really that's why this is a lot, because what you haven't done yet is you haven't put this hand out here and then try to be present yet. Okay. Once you do that, you're going to slow everything down, and it's just like, can you take a breath, slow everything down, and then we're gonna look at this hand later. But the reality is that I could really upset you right now. And you can
upset me. It's okay.
No, I won't. I want you to come back. So now I have
I'll come back. I'll come back. I chose to ask.
Seriously, like, you know, I don't want to. But you say that's just a simple statement of I want him to stop robbing my sister's bank account. If you break it down, you just asked me how to break it down. Okay, what I want you to do tomorrow is I want you to set up the bank account so he no longer has access to the bank account.
He didn't have access. He's just a thief.
Wait, no. Somehow he got access to the bank account. What I want you to do is make 100% certainty that this human being doesn't have access to the bank account.
Okay.
Is that an achievable goal? Or are you telling me you can't work with the bank, or what is it?
No, it's, oh my goodness. I kind of feel like, do you say this? Should I not say this? Dealing with a very smooth operator. So, okay, you look in your wallet and your debit cards are all there. You're good. You made it through lunch without him stealing your bank card. But guess what? He opened your purse and he took a picture of it with his phone. And
no, stop right there. You know, stop right there. You left it out.
Okay, what?
Whatever it was, the debit card got left out.
Well, yeah, it was in a wallet in the purse.
And it got left out. That's a very dangerous thing to do, is leave out a debit card around somebody that's sick and that's going to get high with it. It's dangerous.
So you're saying just like if you're with them, don't have it.
What I'm saying right now is that as human beings, what we do when addiction shows up is we don't know what's right from wrong, and we begin to let gasoline drip onto it. Whether we throw gasoline on it or we drip it on it, gasoline is put on addiction by family members. Yeah. It just is. Mm-hmm. We can call it enabling, call it whatever you want. I call it gasoline on a fire.
Okay.
If we really take responsibility for no more gasoline on the fire, let's just make sure no more gas gets on the fire. Let's secure the home. Let's secure our stuff in a safe when he's around. Let's not let him around anywhere where there would be a wallet at all.
Absolutely.
You know, ever.
Or
Let's
anything of
really-
value.
Let's really take the responsibility all off him. Let's take
Okay.
it completely off him. And let's just say we're dealing with a sick person that is that is like on fire, and we just don't want to be gasoline. We're not mad. We're not angry. But you asked me how you break it down into small pieces.
Well,
this is-
because I asked a big, huge, like I said, my complaint is addiction. That's a big, huge complaint that, you know, well, where do we start in that process of recovery of breaking that down?
Because then, see, that's the easy one. Because then we can just blame addiction.
Right.
If we have the complaint addiction, then we can just blame addiction, and we don't have to take any responsibility for it. We don't have
Right,
to. Really
we don't wanna
put
do
our
that.
hand. But what we require as a program is a deeper sense of responsibility. You know, I mean, stealing out of a wallet is a symptom of somebody that's an addict, is it not? Don't they all do it? I've seen it generally, for the most part, like 80% would be inclined to steal out of a wallet. So the lack of knowledge, or that's a symptom. So if you're then like going to get angry at somebody for a symptom, well, that would be like saying I'm angry at cancer because my mom's hair is on the ground. And I'm angry. I just hate chemo because my mom's hair is on the ground. You know, no, that's a symptom. So we have to be responsible for what's going on. And until we stop letting ourselves off the hook and just blame the big overall thing like addiction and be mad at that, look smaller, be present, and then let's get truthful about what's really going on. Let's really see let's see what's going on here. Let's see how we're adding gasoline to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how you break it down. You just stop, you worry about you take a breath, and then you stop with the added fuel. And we let this fire burn out naturally. And more so than letting it burn out naturally, we might be able to like position it over here so that we can end it. You know, like they do when they fight wildfires.
Don't give it resources.
Right.
So we don't give it resources.
That was it. Yeah.
We stop its resources.
Yeah.
That's how you put a fire out, is you stop its resources. So when addiction shows up like a complaint, then you just stop and you say, what do I want? Well, I want his addiction to end. Okay, it's like I want a fire to go out. Okay, good. We'll do something.
What are you going to do about it?
Then you got to do something about it. And that's right. And it's easy for people to say, I can't do anything about it. He's an addict. No, you can. You actually can. You can stop putting gasoline on it. Now, at the point where you stop putting gasoline on it totally, and you've like cut off other resources and alerted other family members and got the whole thing kind of trapped up, you can then tell me that there's nothing you can do about it. And we might agree. We might agree now you got to let it burn until it goes out. You know, well, somebody goes downtown Seattle, they want to live on the streets and they survive down there for 8 months. There might not be anything you can do. You might be right about that. But, you know, parents get in a kid an apartment and then say they can't do anything about his addiction, or, you know, I'm getting money and resources fueled to it, like Walmart.
So basically, like you're kind of saying that, you know, in order to change some of these behaviors that you refer to as symptoms, that the family needs to stop contributing to those behaviors. The
That's
symptoms.
right. Take it. One of the biggest enablers in this country is Walmart. Walmart's they're terrible.
Okay.
They provide such a resource for drug addicts. You can shoot up in their bathrooms. You can steal anything you want. Wow. You can live in the parking lot. And then Walmart would try to con me and try to tell me that they don't do anything to cause addiction. Yes, you do. You didn't cause the thing, but you do things to throw gasoline on that fire.
Right.
Lowe's, Home Depot, Safeway, they let you walk in and steal whatever you want. You know? And people can lie to me and tell me that they've seen a drug addict starve to death. So we got all these people that feed drug addicts. I've never seen one starve to death. I've dealt with thousands of them. You know what they do when they get hungry? They eat. And what they do when they can't eat and they're really hungry, they have to make a choice between drugs and food.
Hold on, I lost you for a second. Her battery said it was dying.
It's a really nice position to have a drug addict in, that they have to choose between shooting up, heroin or meth or eating. Because eventually they're just going to choose eating and then they're not shooting up. But if you
Right.
feed them, they'll never have to make that choice.
That's right.
You just keep feeding them. Yeah. It's embarrassing.
And what were you were starting to say something and then we kind of drifted in the other direction. You asked me about why do we take on someone else's pain? I said because I don't want to see her hurting. You seemed like you were
Stop right
gonna
there. Stop
touch
right
on
there.
that.
Because there. See, now I'm talking to people and I want everyone to see this. And you might be mad at me, but you're not being honest. And,
What do you mean?
you're not being honest with yourself. See, I know why human beings take away other people's pain. Because they want to feel heroic. They want to feel like they solved it for them. They like to be the hero. So,
I don't
or
feel that
they
way,
can't
though.
they can't sit with other people being in pain. So they can't sit with it. They can't stand somebody being mad at them. You know, if I have a little daughter, she's 16 years old, and she gets a flat tire. Now, she's sitting there with a flat tire. And I go out there and I say, I need you to learn to change your tire. And she starts saying, Daddy, I don't need to change the tire. You got to do that for me. And she throws a tantrum and goes in her room. Am I doing her a favor? Why would I go into that room and then go in there and make her feel better? See, the only reason is one of the two. I want to be the hero, or I want to make her feel better because I don't feel good. It doesn't feel good to sit outside, let her throw a tantrum and sit there. Because what she needs to do is she needs to throw that tantrum. She needs to be in pain. I need to be strong enough to sit out here, let her be in pain, tell her that strategy will never work with me. And then she comes out and she goes, and I go, now, you ready to change the tire? You're going to change the tire. And I teach that 16-year-old girl how to change a tire. Now that is why that's the proper etiquette. But what we do is they're in pain, they're not getting their way, and then we get heroic, or we can't sit with it long enough because we can't stand people being mad at us because we're insecure. So we're so insecure as people. I've been there. I'm there too. So when somebody's mad at me, I'm insecure, and they tell me I'm bad, and they're out getting high, and they tell me I'm mean, and I'm not a good treatment provider, and I'm the bad guy. There's a sense that I want to run out there and prove to them I'm not.
Right.
I want to go say, no, I'm not. But they're doing all that just to make me come give them something. They want me to come pour gasoline on the fire. They want to keep burning. And it is difficult to sit there and be called a bad mom, to be called a bad person, to be told that you're the problem, and then sit there with that pain. So we take other people's pain away in order to take our pain away.
That's what I was just gonna say, of your two ends of that spectrum. That's where I see myself. I can't stand seeing her in pain.
That's right. That's right. So you take somebody's pain away because you want your pain to go away. And you see, that's honest. That's honest. Now, when you started out this thing, people say, I take the people's pain away because I don't want them to be in pain. That's not true. Truth is, I take their pain away to take my pain away. That's the truth. And if you can get truthful and get down with that, then you know the answer. They're in pain. No matter what you do, you'll never take it away. You'll spend your life trying to take it away. And the only way that you can get this person back is when you sit with your pain and feel how it feels to have them be angry, have them not like you for a minute, but they'll respect you later. Drug addicts respect people that don't take their pain away. They respect them later. They say, that person did me a favor.
Yeah.
Every drug addict that ever got sober by getting arrested by a cop says thank you to the cop.
Yeah.
Every person as drug addicts, we do not respect people that take our pain away. We use them, we demolish them, we steal, we move on to the next person. And we go in our addiction until somebody won't take our pain away, and we have to deal with it. And that's it. Mm-hmm. So you were a great question, and thank you for sticking with me. But
yeah, thanks.
You see it. There's fraudulence everywhere, and we say our motivations are false, and you have to look at that. We don't take people's pain away because of them. We don't.
I want to say
We can't feel other people's pain. We feel ours.
I want to say one thing to her.
Thank you, Cindy. And this is Bobby's aunt. You know that?
Yeah.
You know that. I know who I'm talking to.
Okay, I just want to say one thing.
Thank you, Cindy. Oh, go ahead, Kat.
Okay. So, just coming from a perspective, I mean, because I am a drug addict. I am a straight up dirty drug addict. I loved their life. I loved what I was doing. You know, I mean, stealing payments from my stepmom who's in chemo. Like, I'm a dirty drug addict. And what had to happen was my mom had to cut me off. I could not go to her house. She would have to call me. I couldn't call her. She would have to call me, which she didn't do a lot, which was good for both of us. She had to completely make me stay away from her and her life, because the instant she did, I was using it.
Take away the resources.
I was using it 100%. And now, Tracy is in your house, you said? Right now?
She's right here.
Hi.
She's right here. Yeah.
It's your house. You need to protect your house. Put up your boundaries. He cannot come to your house.
And he can't. He's not allowed here.
Okay, good. And Tracy's got to put up her boundaries, and it's gonna suck. But I'm telling you that it's gonna save his life. Like, it's the only option you have, because all you're doing otherwise is you keep him sick. You're just keeping him sick. You make sure that purse is up somewhere, he can never get it. There is no excuse, no reason why he should be able to use any kind of resource that you would give him. Like, I am a drug addict. It happened to me. I got 2 years clean, and it's because of my mom and my dad. Kind of, mostly my mom.
Yeah, I had a friend actually say to me this morning, she said, your sister is the biggest enabler I've ever seen, but you are your enabler's enabler. She said, you're enabling your sister to enable him. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the last thing I wanted to say is, like, I came to a realization with myself one time, and like, it was just kind of go off what Art was saying, is like, the reason why I help people is not because I want to help people. The reason why I help people, because when I make somebody do something good, for whatever reason, it makes me feel good. Now, if it didn't, I wouldn't do it. So ultimately, everything we decide is ultimately selfish. Now, not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way life works. Yeah. But when I have these guys here, and I help them stay clean and sober, and I see somebody that maybe I had said something or done something to help them change their life, it makes me feel good. I mean, if I didn't, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Right. That's right.
Everything we do, it's all selfish. This is trying to stay in recovery is a program of working on yourself and for the family members around us. It is, even though she's living with you and it's her son, you still got to do your own work, your self-work. It has to be on you. You cannot change anything Tracy does. You cannot change anything Bobby does. You cannot change none of it. Right? This is Bobby's, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
You can't, it's your own work. And then that's the only thing you can change. And either what's going to happen is they're going to see that change and they're going to change along with you. Or you're at the point so much where you change, you're going to be in acceptance about it, at the fact that they're not.
Mm-hmm. So, okay.
Thank
you, Kyle.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy and Cindy.
Thank you.
All right. We have time for one more. If there's one more out there that question, share, anything. That was good. Some good shares tonight. I love it.
Well, I think that even what Kyle just said, though, he said that you cannot change what they do. And I find that tricky, because you could say you can't control the burning of a wildfire, but yet you can. And you can do things to steer it. And I take offense when folks are saying that they can't, and what Kyle knows what he means. I mean, he said you can't change. What he means is you can be in acceptance after they've done things. After they've done things, you can be acceptance. But going forward, there's moves that you can make to get out ahead of it. And as you make those moves and get coached on the proper moves, you'll see the direction of how they behave will change. and it will give you some sense of the ability to control it. So that's what we're working on here. Last one.
Any last ones? Kathy Hewlett? You want to get her done?
I think a lot of things I was wondering about, more of a wondering about things, has been answered through a lot of the sharing. I appreciate people being open and honest and sharing things. I think I just have to learn to back off, and that's what I'm trying hard to do. It's really hard. I mean, I think I sent you a text about kind of what was happening. I know that my son, it's alcohol, that's our issue, and he is in a situation where he's never asked us for money or anything before. It's to that point where he hides everything still if there is something wrong, but he did ask for it, and it was pretty painful not to help, I have to say, but you guys had advised us. I needed to back away. And Mike has been stepping in and doing, kind of visiting him more. His brother, who wanted nothing to do with him here for quite some time, probably since birth, couldn't figure out why he came in this world, but anyway, he actually has kind of stepped in and come to visit him and trying to build a relationship. So I'm kind of looking forward to what's to come here with kind of him getting closer. I'm trying to step away, and boy, it's brutal. I have to tell you, the pain I'm feeling, and not jumping in to save to make him, to catch him as he falls and let him just fall is not easy as a mom. So
I think Kathy, overall, what I see generally, and I'm sorry to say this truthfully to everyone, but what I see generally with all the parents that come to me is that they think the parents have an idea that the child or the kid, youngster, adult, whatever it is, 35 to 18, whatever, that this person is going to somehow become a woman or man while simultaneously having a mother and or a father. And I think that the roles somehow in ours have gone on too long. It used to be like back in the day, somebody was 18, it's like, get out, go. I'm no longer your father. I'm not your mother. Go figure it out. And it was cold. So I think we stopped that or whatever. And it was a cold way to be, and it was tough. But it was preferable to what we have now. Perpetual mother-son relationship that goes on into the mid-40s. and them telling me my boy, coming over to my house and going, I want to see my boy. And then he has a full beard. And it's like, okay, well, this has gone on too long. And so my suggestion to almost everybody is that we stop being the mother and father, and we see that window is closed. And then we have to figure out a new role of what I can be. And if you're helping your kid by being their mother and playing a mom role, then for sure you're enabling. For sure you're throwing gasoline on the fire.
And we have to take a look at our motivation on that, is exactly what you're speaking of tonight. The motivation is for us. It makes us feel better to be that mom role. That's about us, not for our kid.
Yeah. The amount of mothers taking their kid to the mall before treatment is just incredible.
Right. I remember
that he's going. It's like, when a kid says they're going to go to treatment, or a youngster or anyone says they're going to go to treatment, there's this beautiful period where we get to use without guilt. It's like this, like I told my parents I was going to treatment Monday, it's Friday. Now I'm almost requiring my parents to get me some drugs. Yeah, I'm going to have a great weekend. There's going to be no guilt. Like I'm getting high. Right. And there's also that period for the mother when the kid finds out that when they find out their kid's going to treatment, there comes this huge loving mother to feel free to purchase and enable and just let real loose because he's going to treatment Monday. Right. So I feel the same thing happens with this, is that the kid gets into treatment and eventually they just unlock the wallet. Just here, you're in treatment. And that is detrimental because
Yeah.
what we know about somebody in early recovery is they got to earn everything.
Yes.
And it's just not pure unless they earn everything.
Mm.
So I suggest to almost everybody, just stop with the mother, stop with the father, find a new role, find something else, find a way to be that's a stand for their improvement of their behavior rather than, you know, being a mother to an adult 30-year-old or 40-year-old. I've seen it up to 50. So actually, I've seen it to 60. I'm not lying. I've seen 60-year-old boys. And I tell the kids that are here with me all the time, I say, you know what, a relationship after you get like a certain age with your mother, there's a standard operating procedure that I'd like to hand out. And that is 2 phone calls a week, a visit with mom once every 2 weeks where you bring her a present or a gift and you have coffee or you do something nice for her. And then special occasions, it's a lunch with mom.
Not dinner.
Not dinner. It's not a dinner. That's weird. Don't go to dinner with your mother. Go to lunch. And then maybe if you're really a matinee, Yeah, matinee, no night movie. So I've got a standard procedure for young men with their mom. 2 phone calls, 1 visit every 2 weeks.
You know, I see.
And every phone call starts with, Mom, how are you?
Yeah.
How are you? Tell me about your day. Tell me about your week. You don't need to hear about mine. It's uneventful, Mom. Not a big deal. I just want to hear about you, Mom. And then that's it. And then when you go to your mother's, you have a cup of coffee, you make her some, you cut a little of the pie that she's got on the counter, you have a piece, both of you have a piece, and then you wash the dishes, and then you smile, and then you leave. Anything beyond this relationship I'm describing is inappropriate. And we see this over and over. So.
I tell you, and Kathy, I just want to say thank you for this question because I can tell you, I can see everybody's screens and I can see all the moms that are just, they're like this and they're feeling it. And this is such an important topic, what was just discussed. You know, I didn't have this piece nailed before losing my son. I didn't have this. He was still my boy and I was still his mom and I was his biggest fan and I just oogled over him and all that. I didn't have this nailed. And, you know, if I'd known better, I would have done better today. But I just want to say thank you. It's just these little things that you think, and there's probably so many of you on Zoom each week that kind of have something like this. And I could feel Kathy's hesitancy to share, maybe nervousness, you know, first time sharing and all that. I got that. Maybe she didn't feel it was, you know, important or whatever, but it just is so valuable to everybody else that's listening. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I had to wait long enough to not be in tears and then,
yeah.
Then I could talk.
So I just want to invite all of you in weeks to come, please just share whatever's there because it's valuable. Go ahead, Sherry.
One of the things that's really helpful that I've found so far in all of this, and for like the Stanton family and for Kathy and Mike there, is that we're all going through it. So we're in this together. And one of the things that's cool is in some ways, this is given, like for my husband and I, it's given us a common language. When I think I was complaining about a work thing one day and he was like, oh, check your superiority. And I was like, oh man. And he called me out. And it was, I mean, it gave us that common language to use to say, hey, are you now? Are you in now, right now? And you know, he's calling me out to say, hey, stop, breathe.
Yeah.
Don't call the kid, leave him alone, let him make his choices. And I'm like, okay, step back. And I'm, you know, in turn then pointing to my husband because I'm the mommy. I'm pointing to my husband going, you know, ask dad. You know, kid wants to spend the night at somebody's house. Okay, ask dad.
Yes.
Don't ask me, ask dad, because he knows I'm the softie. So
yes. And moms trust
language.
dad. Dad knows. Dad knows. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Sherry. All right, Art, close it up.
Well, I just think it's extremely valuable. And if you haven't taken the step forward of forced presence and intentional presence, and if you haven't just untangled for a second and took this hand and said, I'm going to take 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day 20 minutes a day, whatever it is that you're going to force presence with. And if you don't understand presence, it's that moment when you realize that you've missed the exit on the freeway. That's presence. And so what happened was you weren't present. And then as soon as, so the way that you know that you're present is that you realize that you weren't present. And so that profound moment when you realize you weren't present, that's presence. And so to realize that you're present is presence, and to just take this realization and take this hand and do it. And then really, really, I encourage you to have the humility to explore your own dishonesty or your own fraudulence. And this is deep. It goes deep. And it never ends. And I'm not telling you that I still don't have it. I do. And so I just explore it, and I can be called on it if somebody wants to say something and call me out on my motivations. And I'm not talking about like I didn't break the lamp. We're not talking about I didn't go there when I went there. I'm not talking about I wasn't just at the store. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about motivation. So really looking close at these two hands and seeing that, man, and I was thinking about it and how much work we did at the beginning of Solution Group. And we used to say it before every group. We used to say we required two things here at Solution Group. We required truth and presence. And I didn't even know how profound it was at the time, because that is the requirement, and that is what we're doing. And that does it change, or it really, it makes the quality of our experience profound. And we can look at a depth of experience based upon how truthful we are and how present we are. And that's the quality of life. So that's what we're working on here. I encourage you all to just take this handout and force some presence, and then take this and look at it and see how they can help each other out, truth and presence. And once again, have a good week. And it's an honor for you guys all to be here and listen to my bullshit. And I still can't always believe that you guys are still here. When are you guys going to figure it out? But anyways, thank you. Good night.
We love hearing from you, Art. This is great.
Thank you, guys.
Guys. We'll see you next week. We're back next week, right, Art?
Yes.
Yes, we're back next week. Two things. If you're not on my text reminder list, shoot me a text and tell me to add you. And number two, let me mute them real quick. If any of you want to review old Solution Groups, you can go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, Battlefield Addiction, and there's a playlist that says Solution Groups on Zoom, and you can catch all the ones since COVID started. And then once if you dive into all that and you want more and to go further back, you can just request it and I'll shoot you the link. We have Solution Groups as far back as like 4 years of a library. So, all right, you guys, have a great week. We'll see you next week. Thanks for all the great participation. It was really good. Thanks, guys. Good night, good night, good night. I was trying to unmute all as we say goodbye, but I can't seem to do it anymore.
Good.
Oh, there we go. Good night, guys. Some of you are unmuted. Good night. Good night. I can't.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Night.
Good night. Good night, everybody.